Hi, everybody. Welcome back. In this segment today, we're going to be talking about the 10 commandments of real estate. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Number 1, thou shalt not ever forget whom thou representeth. And you're like, oh my gosh, if she talks that way the whole time, that's going to make me crazy. Bottom line, don't ever forget who hired you. And you know that they hired you, whether it's your buyer, whether it's your seller, when you have a signed agency agreement in place. You've signed it, they signed it, they want to hire you, you agree to take them on as a client. It's a win-win. We're moving forward. We're partnering together to create magic and make it happen. But don't ever forget who hired you. Sadly, one of the biggest reasons that agents get sued all across the country is over agency. When we forget who hired us, it creates an absolute world of hurt, rolling dumpster fire, lots and lots of issues, lots of problems. So, number 1, don't ever forget who hired you. Number 2, thou shalt get all of thy agency relationships in writing. Tied to number 1, never forgetting who hired you, we absolutely positively need to get all of our agency relationships in writing. And the way that I like to teach this to new and experienced agents is ABCs, because that's easy to remember. If I tell you remember your ABCs, that means agency before contracts. Pretty simple. Always get your agency relationships nailed down in writing before you proceed to the contract level. Why? Because nailing down a contract and writing an airtight contract is one of your most essential roles as a real estate professional. We'll talk about that as we talk about your value positioning system. Make absolutely certain that you never give any advice, guidance, or counsel until you've gotten your agency relationship buttoned down in writing. Number 3, thou shalt champion thy client, not the other person's client, your client. Again, tied back into number 1, always remember who hired you. Number 2, always get your agency relationships in writing. 3, champion your client. Remember all 6 of your fiduciary duties: old car, obedience, loyalty, disclosure, confidentiality, accounting for funds, and reasonable care and diligence. We're going to go through these in much greater detail later, above and beyond what you did in real estate school, just to make absolutely certain we give you that essential compliance piece. That's what we want for you, a rock star real estate professional. Never ever give advice, guidance, or counsel to anyone that you have not signed an agency relationship, an agency agreement with. And remember, if it looks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, what is it? It's a duck. We can create agency relationships with other people by giving them advice, guidance, and counsel and acting that like they are our client. Don't do that unless and until you have your agency relationships totally buttoned down and in writing. Number 4, thou shalt be the source of the source and not the source itself. Obviously, and you were probably taught this in pre-licensing school, but just to be on the safe side and to remind you, always be the source of the source. Where did you get that information? Don't ever give out legal or tax advice, and always make certain that the information that you are giving out is completely and totally accurate. Always make certain that every single thing that you say, every correspondence, every email that you write, every single thing, every piece of advice, every source of information is completely and totally accurate. And the best way to do that is to source your source. And that way you're not passing along hearsay. Number 5, thou shalt know thy contract inside and out. It is one of our 6 most essential duties and responsibilities as real estate professionals to write and create an airtight contract for our clients. That presupposes that you have an unbelievably solid knowledge of your purchase contract. My good friend Harry years ago gave me some advice, and he taught me the principle of once a month, he reads through 2 different documents. He reads the U.S. Constitution from start to finish once a month and has done this for more than 20 years. He knows it really, really well. The other thing that he reads cover to cover, start to finish, every single month is our purchase contract. Your contract is going to look different from mine, and that means that you need to know it inside and out. When I teach the purchase contract, no matter what state I'm teaching it in, I always go with the principle of inside, outside, upside down. That was a children's book that I read years and years ago when I was a little kid growing up. We need to know the purchase contract inside, outside, upside down, just like that, so that we know how to use it as both a sword and a shield to protect and defend our clients in the event that anything goes sideways in that transaction, as unfortunately sometimes things do. Number 6, thou shalt not reinvent the wheel. Think about the questions that you are asked frequently and make sure that you over time start to add those things, those answers to those questions and those resources to your website so that your website can become a rich resource for buyers especially, but also for sellers so that they can find you, first of all, and also utilize and leverage the power of the information that you are putting out there. Things like crime statistics, things like schools, neighborhood demographics, all of those, even entertainment in your area, things to do, movie theaters, resources to the local utilities so that buyers know where to go when they move, and all of those things, all of those resources that you can create what are called backlinks to other websites will provide a rich environment for your website to become a valuable resource to your buyers and sellers. And you're not going to have to reinvent the wheel every time someone asks you a question about where do I go to find school information? Where do I go to find the registered sex offender list? All of those questions, start taking note of the things people ask you for again and again and again, and don't reinvent the wheel. Add them to your website. Number 7, we talked about this already, but it deserves its own number actually, is remember your ABCs, agency before contracts. And it bears repeating because honestly, there are a lot of agents that I know, bless their hearts, agents that I have served as a coach, as a mentor, as a broker, and as a friend, where people come to me after the fact and tell me that they've written a purchase contract for someone that they did not have an agency agreement with. That is highly problematic and is actually not okay in most states. So make sure you know at what point in my state am I required to have a buyer broker agency agreement. It's not required that the buyer's agent write up that purchase contract, but it is most common that that's the way that it works. Never write up a contract for anyone that you don't have an agency agreement with. So there you go. Remember your ABCs. Number 8, thou shalt not ever pretend to be good at something that thou art not good at. And that goes along with Article 11 of the Realtor Code of Ethics. We are committed as real estate professionals to not put forth that we are an expert at anything that we're actually not an expert at. And that includes things within the realm of real estate, like property management, like commercial real estate. We can't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a commercial agent today. That is an entirely different skill set. In most states, it requires different contracts. We just can't pretend to be good at things that we are not because it will be very, very detrimental, very harmful to the public. So we've got to make sure that we know our stuff. This also includes geographical competence. We need to make certain that we are not acting outside the scope of our knowledge base when it comes to geographical competence. I would not come to your city and try to do a CMA, for example, because I don't know the nuances of neighborhoods. And I could not do a Rockstar CMA where you live, even if I had access to your MLS. Geographical competence is a really important facet of real estate. A lot of us think and feel mistakenly that because we have a real estate license in a specific state, that gives us license to do business everywhere. Yes, it does technically and theoretically, but really, there are so many nuances of different property types, even within the same city, condos versus townhomes versus single family residences, especially in gated communities, resort and second home properties, if Airbnb is allowed. There are so many questions that we need to be able to answer accurately. And so acting outside the scope of our knowledge base is absolutely not okay. It bears repeating that we also never ever dispense legal or tax advice and never ever quote an interest rate unless you are a licensed lender currently in your state. And in most states, it's illegal for you to act as both the real estate professional and the mortgage licensee in the same transaction. So make sure you talk to your broker. If you do hold dual licenses, make certain you know exactly what you can and cannot say, what you can and cannot do, so that you do not get into trouble. Number 9, and you've heard me talk about this again and again and again, and it bears repeating again and again and again. Thou shalt surround thyself with people who are going to make you look great. This starts with your broker and all of the support staff and the entire team at your brokerage. Their brand is your brand. And you need to make certain that there is total alignment there between who they are in your marketplace and who you want to be and who you want to be affiliated with. This includes your lender. This includes the title company that you most often refer business to. This applies to your stager and your painter and every single person that you recommend and do business with, including home inspection, home warranty, all of the players in a real estate transaction. Everyone that you recommend and refer is a reflection of you. Make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people who are making you look great and are going to allow you to deliver the best customer experience, the best client experience, the most professional experience possible, because that is how you are going to create both a business and a life that you love, getting referrals and recommendations to their friends and family, those who use you and have a wonderful experience. That is how the vast majority of real estate is referred. And so your business is going to come from people that you do an outstanding job for. The challenge becomes, how do I get my first clients so that I can do an absolutely fabulous job, so they can leave me reviews and they can refer me? We're definitely going to help you with that in this program. And if you have not already started to build your leads and generate referrals as a result of what we're teaching you, we want to hear from you. We want you to reach out to us so that we can help you figure out what you can and should be doing to make sure that you are getting leads that you can follow up on so that you can do your first transactions. Another way that you can surround yourself with people who are going to make you look great is to affiliate with other really fabulous realtors and real estate professionals. I strongly recommend the Women's Council of Realtors. They were recommended to me when I was brand new in this industry in 1999. Absolutely, truly a danger to myself and others. I promise. It was recommended to me that I go to a Women's Council of Realtors meeting, and I did. I went to my first meeting and met someone there who absolutely changed my life. He was actually the one who taught me the adage to surround myself with people who are going to make me look great. He was a rep. Actually, he was regional manager for a really, really large title company in that marketplace in California. And I had 5 escrows that I needed to place right at that moment. And he said, you gotta, where you're new and you need help and you're going to have questions, you need to make sure that you've got people on your team that are making you look great at the end of the day and helping you to deliver the very best client experience possible. So you're going to hear me say it again. Make sure that you know number 9 is surround yourself with people who are going to make you look great. Number 10, again, another thing you're going to hear from me over and over and over again is thou shalt never, ever stop learning. The number of continuing education credit hours that are mandated and required that you get in your 2-year relicensing period, most states are 2 years. If yours is longer or shorter, please forgive me. However long it is in your state, the number of mandatory hours is just the beginning. If you really want to be a real estate rock star, you've got to go way above and beyond. One of my favorite coaching clients, I absolutely love and adore him. I kid you not. He's had his license now for 5 weeks as of the recording of this video. And he has taken 96 continuing education hours in those 5 weeks. This man is, I'm not telling you you have to do that. I'm telling you that I want you to have a deep commitment and a desire to learn everything that you can about the real estate industry so that you can have the confidence and then the competence to go out and crush it and have real estate conversations with people knowing you really truly can add value to their lives. Please don't ever, ever stop learning. And not just continuing education. Learn everywhere you possibly can. For me, one of my favorite places to learn is a website that I'm not affiliated with. It's a program called Masterclass. And I talk in this coaching program about Chris Voss when I talk to you about negotiations. And I've taken his masterclass. Absolutely brilliant. And it's very reasonable, but if you are feeling cash strapped as a result of investing in this program and everything else that it took to get you started in real estate, go to YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Chris Voss, ChrisVoss, and look at his YouTube videos, especially the one that he has on negotiation for real estate. You can learn so much from really high quality resources without spending any money. So don't get into the mindset that you're going to have to spend a whole bunch of money after you're done with this coaching program in order to continue to learn. Nothing could be further from the truth. And we're going to give you additional tools and resources that you can benefit from after you've graduated from our program so that you can have a deep, lifelong commitment to learning. So the 10th of the 10 is never, ever, ever stop learning.